glad you're here. My name is Steve Elanius. I'm President and CEO of the Chamber, and this is A Million Cups. And so this is a program, we do 14 different programs here at the Chamber to help foster entrepreneurs. And this is one of the programs. It's a great way to connect, meet folks, kind of hear their stories, and how we can help them move their ideas forward in the marketplace. And it really is about creating that ecosystem that is supportive of startups, it's supportive of entrepreneurs, and it helps them and helps people move their ideas. Along that same line, we have on February 28th, we have an entrepreneurial summit that we're going to be hosting at the Embassy Suites. The cost is $30, and that includes a light breakfast and a lunch, which you can't beat that type of deal today. And we've got some great speakers and programs that are going to be talking about creating the ecosystem. And one that I want to really point out to you is John Roberts with Tip Strategies is going to be talking about disruptors and how disruptors in the economy create opportunities. So they'll have a conversation about artificial intelligence and the cannabis industry and how that is such a huge change, is going to be a huge change agent in terms of what's going to be happening. And when you have disruptors, that creates opportunities for new businesses. And so we want to have that conversation. Also, we're going to have some conversation. We're going to have some foodies, our food entrepreneurs. Elizabeth's going to be talking about, we're going to have a panel discussion with our food entrepreneurs. We're going to be having a conversation with folks that, 3 different guys that have taken their idea to the marketplace and have gone and have taken different routes to get their ideas out there and selling. One's selling on Amazon, one's selling through a distributor, and one's selling directly to HEB. So that's going to be a great conversation. Then we're going to have the mayor talk a little bit about the digital divide. The Federal Reserve is going to be there. They're bringing in an economist that has done a pretty big study on the digital divide and the challenges for communities when you have folks that don't have access to the internet versus folks that do have access to the internet. So it's going to be a great event. It's an all-day event. We really encourage you to sign up. We still have seats available, so don't miss out. Jorge or Michelle are the folks you need to see. It is money well spent, and it's time well spent, so we encourage you to be a part of that. So with that, I want to call up my trusted business startup and guru on all things business development, Jorge Sanchez. Jorge gets the pleasure of being the MC because Drew Lentz is not here, and so he's going to be very enthusiastic and excited that you're here. So give Jorge a round of applause. Yeah, whoa, oh yeah, I forgot. Okay, we got some new folks here, so no clapping, bell ringing is all we do, okay? So it's all about bell ringing. Okay, Jorge.
And before we get started, let's just go around and see who we have here in the room. Please introduce yourself very quickly, just to know who we have here and how we can help entrepreneurs.
I got him over here. I put the mic over here.
Cool.
Hi there.
Stand up. You gotta stand up. Stand up. Introduce yourself real quick.
Ariel King, or Ariel King. I own the Bryan House in Mission. That's a historic venue.
Monica Ramirez from the National Federation of the Blind.
Carlos Montalano, I'm the founder of TAGU, the digital business card mobile.
Good morning. Rana Cortera, I'm an economic development specialist with the Small Business Administration.
Tammy Rissica, and I'm the membership director for McAllen Country Club.
Silver Trevino, inventor of Ready Tea, golf accessory tool.
Hi, Joe Bush. I'm a business and real estate attorney at Las Palmas Rodriguez.
Good morning, Ramiro Garza, and I'm with RG Economic Advisors, economic consulting firm.
Xavier Lewis with Texas Farm Bureau Insurance.
Joe, introduce yourself.
Jack Michelle, and I'm an entrepreneur champion for entrepreneurs as much as I can.
Hi, David Geralt. I'm a partner with B2B CFO Partners. We do outsourced chief financial officer services. I'm also co-founder of a startup in the beverage business that rumor has it you'll be hearing from next month.
Excellent. Good.
Juan Guerrero, developer of the AC Pathfinder.
Joe Sanchez with Innovation-Based Learning, Educational Institution, Training Program, and Economic Development Center.
Hello, Carlos Hinojosa, Davila and Associates. We do interpreting and translating.
Hello, Juan Gomez, with Cura Global, and I'm a Forex trader.
Hello, my name is Eric Masan. I help individuals out anywhere from their credit or going through non-traditional investments as well.
Hello, my name is Eduardo Hernandez. I'm with Roth Capital, venture capitalist.
Joseph Wilhoff, I'm with Dado.
Elizabeth Davis, I'm a Domingo Sinapay de Howard in Madison County.
Awesome.
Hi, good morning, I'm Eva Costa. I am co-founder of Rio Energy Bar. We make savory protein crisps. And I may put these on, don't judge me, I can see with these on, so.
Well, first of all, thank you everyone for coming here. And taking
Joe Brown back there.
Joe Brown.
Joe Brown needs on. But I'll get it for her. So Joe, introduce yourself.
I'm Joe Brown. I'm retired. I'm not looking to do anything. No, that's not true. I am retired. I'm a retired banker. I do have a small company. I do team building events for the chamber, for the city. I just did one for the school district. I also officiate sports for the state. I train people around the state in softball, and I call high school softball and train people here in that area. I also am a facilitator for Quinta Mazatlan. What else? Oh, I also am the director for the RGB Community Foundation here, and I don't know what else I do. I do auctioning, yes, for nonprofits. I do a little bit of everything because I found out that once you retire, you do more things and don't get paid for them. So, shrimp oil. But yeah, shrimp oil. I do those.
Hi, my name is Gabriela Garcia. I'm a business banker at Wells Fargo. I'm here a part of the chamber trying to visit and learn and get to know my community. I like to get involved. I've been with the company for 14 years, in banking over 21 years.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I just want to take some time to recognize our founders, and we have 4 of our 13 or 14 founders right here in this room. So we have Ruben, we have Joe, we have Silver, and we have Elizabeth. Please ring your bells just to recognize. And Jack himself, yes. Awesome. So for those of you that are new in 1 Million Cups, let me briefly explain what it is. The goal of this program is just to connect entrepreneurs with our community. So how we do this is we bring up 2 different entrepreneurs every month, on the second Wednesday of every month. And they have 6 minutes to tell their story. It's not a sales pitch. It's for them to tell their journey. And the goal behind this is to connect our community, you guys, with the entrepreneurs, the guys that are going to be right here. Okay? So if you know someone that can help our entrepreneur move forward, this is the opportunity to offer your services or to offer some time or a connection that you might have to that will help them move forward. Now, a little bit about the flow of the meeting. I'll bring up the entrepreneur for 6 minutes, and then we will engage in 20 minutes of Q&A. You guys will have the opportunity to ask questions or to make suggestions to your project. After that, we have a short break, 2-3 minute break, and then we bring our second entrepreneur, and that will be it. That should be our hour-long meeting. We have enough coffee on the back, we have enough donuts, and we have Matis. Matis donated some cookies, pastries. So just try them out if you like them and you would like to purchase from them. Elizabeth is your contact right here. So let's get this started before we lose more time. And today, our first person to come up is Carlos Mandujano. Carlos Mandujano is the founder of Tag You, a mobile app that will help you share your contact information in a faster way. Please join me in welcoming Carlos Mandujano.
So hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Carlos Mandujano, like Jorge mentioned. I am the founder of Tag You Inc. It's a digital business card mobile app that is supposed to make networking a lot faster. So I am what eHarmony is to love. I make connections. I am what Cupid is going to be tomorrow for Valentine's. I do it real fast, like an arrow to you. So a little bit about Tag You. A while back, I'd say maybe about 3 years ago, in my previous employment, I was a fire chief with the city of FAR. So I was one of the fastest moving ranking firefighters, became a fire marshal, became a deputy chief fire marshal, then became a fire chief, and they would send me to a lot of conventions. I'd go to a lot of conventions and I'd meet a lot of individuals, kind of like what I'm doing today. And we'd share our business cards. And this morning, if you would have seen my pocket, I had a pocket of about 50 business cards here, which are on top of your table right now. They say Tag You. And that's 4 simple steps for you all to engage in what we're going to be doing today. So if you get a minute during the break or whatnot, just go ahead and download Tag You, so that way you all can see the value of what it is. The way that Tag You works is it utilizes swipe and share technology. So from up here, and actually right now I was just going to give an example. Mr. Juan Tames created his digital business card, and I was sitting over there, and I was able to see that he was in the building. I didn't even know who he was, but because of this app, I was able to find out, hey, you know what? Now I know Juan Tames. And not only that, I was going to do free gift cards to Starbucks to the first person or several that got in here, and I guess he's the first one to get that free gift card, so congratulations. Gamify it a little bit. But, so Tag You, and I know I'm going all over the place because I'm here. This has been a real long journey. It's been 2 years in the making, and I've bootstrapped a lot of it myself. I've self-funded it, and it costs a lot to build a mobile app. So actually the way it works is I'm pitching it out right now. It's not pitching it out, but I'm kind of just telling you all, it's been real difficult. The Tag You mobile app has been a very hard process because I wasn't able to find developers locally at one point. I went to San Francisco, I went to Menlo, I went to Silicon Valley, and the prices over there was like $360,000 to build this app. And I was like, wow, this is ridiculous. So I came back home, I started to bootstrapping, looking around, and I found some local developers, and they partnered up with me, and we were able to get this done. So right now, Tag You is in the App Store. It is live, it is functional. We've already have 300 downloads within a couple of weeks, and I'm not even pushing it, to be very honest with you, because of the fact that I'd like to push it on a grander scale and really sell this more to chambers and sell this to keynote speakers, because at one point or another, everybody hears a keynote speaker, and we're able to say, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and share my contact with somebody, because that's going to make business for my business. That's really what it is. We're networking, we're doing fast networking, but Tag You helps you to remember the face, remember the name, remember the location where you met this individual, and you're able to always have this digital business card at the palm of your hand. We all have our cell phones right now, don't we? So that's one thing that we do have. How many of us do not have business cards at the moment? So there's a couple that we don't have business cards. So we came to a networking event without business cards, but we came with our cell phones. So guys, this is the way to go. Having a digital business card mobile app is the way that's going to make everything simplified for you to be able to maintain and keep all the networks at the palm of your hand. I was on a drive one day to Austin. We were doing some lobbying or whatever it is you want to call it, and I had previously met Congressman Filimon Bella. And I said, and he gave me his personal number, and I was like, on my way that one, I said, you know what, let me call him up. My business card was at my home office, and nobody was at my home office because I live alone. So what use was it there? I had it by my computer, right there, and I said, I have his contact, I just don't have it on me. How sad is that? You know, so I was like, oh my goodness, so what do I do now? So I contacted several individuals, finally got his number, but I didn't have to go through that process if I would have had Tag you know, the digital business card, and he would have passed it on. And it's real simple, guys. All it is, it's 4 steps. You download it, you create the account, and it's just a simple email. It verifies you and your password. It's real simple. And then from there, you're able to just create your digital business card. It takes 2 steps. You do a logo picture. You can crop. Juan did it real fast. You crop and you do a selfie picture or whatever you have. You can or cannot put it whether you want to or not. But you're able to put your information and we're able to make that fast contact. So guys, right now at the moment, let me see. Juan, I don't think I've ever met you before, but I'm gonna demonstrate what it does. Juan, can you open up your app? So he's going to go to what we call a Digidex. If y'all remember, we used to have a Rolodex. That word is trademarked, so we don't have abilities to use that one. But we have Digidex. That's my baby right there. So you have it on? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually send you my business card. There's a red dot that's going to populate on the top right corner. Let me know when you receive it. Oh, and I got Eric Bassan just created a business card. Eric Bassan, I've never met you before, but now we have. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, read my information, please.
Carlos, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Please do.
Montefano, Tag You Inc. President.
What is my phone number?
Let me accept it.
Oh, that's one thing, guys. You can accept the business card or deny it. You don't have to get everybody's, you know, and they're not going to have hurt feelings because of the fact that you denied them because they won't view.
Your phone number is area code 956-532-1096.
What is my email?
tagu2020@outlook.com.
What is my location?
3805 North 1st Street, McAllen, Texas.
And my website?
www.tagu.io.
Why don't you press the link for the website? So it's dynamic, guys. It moves fast. He's able to open up my website, my information. Oh, real quick, so he's able to see that. And because of that, he's also the winner of a Starbucks gift card. So you and Juan. But that's interesting, guys. From here, I'm able to do that. Now, if all of us here and here were to do Tag You, you know, we could actually share our business cards with each other, and we know who's in the building. We'd be able to say, Miss Tammy, you know what? There's a couple of individuals here that aren't members yet, but now they have your direct information and are able to make contact with you faster. I have a person here, Abdo, that actually, thank you for coming, actually was a keynote speaker a while back, maybe a couple of weeks ago, was a keynote speaker, and he didn't have a chance to meet with everybody individually. But what he is actually offering, what he does, is very valuable, guys. So what I just want to say with that is, he was able to, if he would have had Tag You, and we would have had Tag You in here, and the chamber would have said, hey, you know what, guys, just for the sake of networking, you know, download Tag You, he would have been able to have shared his business card, and everybody here would have had his contact lightning fast, and they would have had it at the palm of their hand. So that is Tag You, guys.
In signing into Tag You, I have a message here. In signing into Tag You, I have a message: allow Tag You to access photos, media, and files on your device.
The only one that it's going to access, and then that's a good question because we called Apple, I called Google. It's not going to access your photos and everything. It's only accessing the ones to get from your gallery, the logo you need, and the picture you're putting yourself. It's just 2 photos that it's accessing if you access them. If you don't access them, then there's no problem.
Okay.
But it doesn't go, there's a big privacy law that does not allow for any app to go and access all your photos or anything like that.
So in essence, what if I put deny, I can still work the tagging?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But
if you accept, it's only so that it can get the 2 pictures you choose. Other than that, it's not going to do any type of search into your.
So we want to hit allow then, right?
You would hit allow, yes. You would have to trust the content and that's the privacy law, and that's kind of like what we went through, just trying to look at what it is that was the concerns, and there is that big privacy law where it does not allow for you to look at those photos or messages or anything like that. We're not here to go into your information, we're just here to be able to get the 2 pictures you choose.
Okay. Hey, Carlos, what's your next step? So you launched it, have you launched it already?
I have put it in the App Store. I haven't launched it. There's a difference because a launch would mean, more money, of course, and marketing and whatnot. But the next step is actually a big launch. We're working right now with a company that's going to be able to put us in quite a bit of views to see where it goes. But we're actually just right now trying to create 150 to 200 conversations of, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this. So that way we can launch a proper, very dynamic, something that people actually do want and need.
So what's your time frame? What are you thinking?
Approximately maybe about within the next 2 months, 3 months. So we're giving us a little bit of time, but we're already actually out there. Like I said, we launched in the first week. We downloaded, I think it was 50. Now we're up to 300 downloads, and that's within a 2-3 week period. And we're doing it at a snail pace, just to make sure that we get the correct feel. But this could actually expand to, I guess we're about 30 people in here, but it could actually be a download of 30 more individuals, if it's just something that you guys would say, hey, you know what, and I share my business card with you guys, so it would be a fast launch. I'm sorry, I had a question from this.
Yeah, just real quick, good morning. And
good morning.
Thank you for your entrepreneurial.
You're welcome.
Before I just had a comment, but I did want to mention that I downloaded the wrong tag view, so before I download the right one, so there's a tag YOU, so.
Yes, there is.
FYI to everybody, that's not the one, so.
So
anyway, just FYI.
Okay.
It says tag view also, but it has a hashtag on there, so. But I downloaded it. But I guess my only question is, so the launch is, Steve asked, in 2 to 3 months, what's the goal in terms of how many people you would like to have signed up? Do you have such a goal, or I'm just kind of curious before you?
Yes. Our goal is, of course, it's a freemium base, the initial one, so we want to get as many users as possible. But one thing that we're going to be utilizing this for, and I've met already with some pretty impressive individuals, I guess, that organize conventions, is to utilize this at conventions and gamify it. So that's going to say, you know what, maybe there's going to be like $1,000, 1,000 users, 2,000 users that are going to come on board. We can handle that because we're using the servers, of course, of Apple and Google. So, that's easy. It's already been displayed. And, right now I'm noticing, and it's crazy because now I know there's a Gabriela Garcia in the house. So, Ms. Garcia with Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
Wow. So you see, and the way it works is I have a nearby feature here. And that nearby feature will tell me who's in the house. Ramiro Garza Jr. just created it. Monica Ramirez. Wow. So you see, guys, that's where I'm getting at. This is going to be networking at its finest, because now I'm going to see what Ms. Ramirez does, and if she has anything to offer from her business, it's a warm market. I'm going to go with her. Yes, sir.
So the question I kind of had was.
I'm sorry. I was. Oh, that's interesting. I chose you, and then you have the mic. So okay.
The guy with the mic.
The guy with the mic. Sorry. Go ahead.
So one of the questions that I had was, how far does the nearby feature have activity for?
The nearby feature has 150 meters, so it encompasses a big group, right? But the trick here is when you're doing a person-to-person networking, you have that 3 to 5 second window. Like for instance, if Jorge here is here and we're discussing, he's going to open up Tag You, and I'm going to swipe and share. I don't expect everybody here to have their Tag You open at the same time, so it's a communication. Now, guys, this is a cool thing. There's people in here, and this works at Starbucks. I've done it before when I'm at Starbucks, and I have several downloads at Starbucks. And I don't know who's in there, but then I'm able to shoot the nearby feature or use that one, and I know who's in there, and I'm able to make a good network. That's what we're doing. I'm doing what the chamber is doing for businesses. I'm trying to get more networking going on for us to be able to work on who's in the house. Yes, sir, sorry.
Okay, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Please do, and you're the one that I was waiting for.
What does your app do that LinkedIn doesn't already do? Because it has the nearby feature. I mean, I can go into my LinkedIn. I've already got 2,000 contacts in LinkedIn. It's got a feature I can go in and turn that on right now, and anybody else who turns it on that I'm not connected with, I can connect with. So what are you adding that Microsoft doesn't already own with LinkedIn?
The one thing that I do love is that you bring up is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my end game, my end vision. They're the ones I want to sell this to because LinkedIn doesn't have a business card app. We're still doing a business card feature. You know, we just want to get the basic information so that we can create what the business card has. You know, do you have a business card on you right now? So why are you bringing a business card and you're not bringing LinkedIn to the table? You know, so that's what I'm trying to say. It's LinkedIn it's got so much stuff, and really all you want to do is be able to say, here's my card. Here's my card. I'm not trying to replace LinkedIn. I'm not trying to replace Facebook. All I'm doing, and I had a social media expert, I believe he was, or I forget what it was, but he was telling me, hey, Carlos, if your business card did this and 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 this, that'd be the greatest business card. And I told him, and this is a guy that has a lot of followers, told him, if you wanted me to solve all your problems, then I'd be a miracle worker. All I'm doing is creating a business card app that you're gonna have the business cards at the palm of your hand, lightning fast to share. So it's really just a digital business card app that has a lot of value to it because you're able to go into the actual like websites and send an email from there, make a phone call, find out the business location. So it's real simple. It's not LinkedIn.
Carlos, other beta tests that you've done, are you trying to work with groups and trying to get, I know that this was a strategy to come here and tell us what your next steps are as far as this.
So the next steps that I have is we're setting up one of the big steps is we're setting up 5 meetings with different chamber presidents to see what the need is, what it is that they would find valuable. Because I remember last time, one thing that was brought up was Mr. Elanius had said, hey, give us your information and we're going to make 100 business cards for each and everybody in here. And I thought, wow, that's going to be interesting because you're utilizing somebody's time, you're utilizing somebody's effort, somebody's material, right? But at the end of everything, these people that are in here can actually just do a download, create their own. It doesn't take any time away from you, doesn't take any time away from anybody. It doesn't utilize your expense, your material, your expenses, and you're able to give them more than 100 business cards because you're able to do that. So we have set up meetings with different chamber presidents. We have meetings set up with different CEOs. For instance, Sylvan Learning Centers is one. We're going to be utilizing Sylvan Learning Centers for all the families. And we're going to be also going out and just doing a lot of planning and strategies for different types of individuals. One that's also on my radar is multi-level marketing. You know, because they go out and they meet a lot of individuals, you know, and they're always sharing, and it's going to save them time, it's going to save them money, and then also it puts them, you know, in a position where they're able to just network and connect extremely fast. Yes, sir.
Can you share with everyone what happens if you have the app and you want to share it with someone that doesn't have the app?
Yes, there's an SMS feature there. So you, for instance, who here has not downloaded the app? Okay, sir, let me use him as an example if I may.
Augusto.
Perfect. Sir, if you don't mind, what is your phone number?
956-445-6784.
So there's an SMS feature that I put here. I'm able to input his phone number and share my card with him right now. So it shares them and it says, hey, Carlos Mondojano has just met you and is inviting you to download Tag You.
Thank you, because I couldn't find it on my store, so it's perfect.
Perfect. So thank you very much. And he's actually a paid actor. Oh, you swiped the incorrect way for, like you denied somebody?
Yeah, if you go the wrong way, it's like a block. Well, yeah, if someone sends you something, and then, I'm not familiar with email.
So if you swipe, so it's kind of like, I got it off of, like these, I guess I'll say it, you know, because everybody's familiar with Tinder and stuff, you know how you swipe right to accept, swipe left to deny, you know, you guys, so I'm not sure, like, if you swipe the wrong way, you denied that individual, you denied that individual.
That's it.
Yeah. But I hope that, you know, you can recover, I'll figure it out for you.
What if, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Yes, sir.
just very quick. This might have to do more with my telephone service, but it says that this item isn't available in my country. I don't know, I work in Dallas, Texas, so sometimes carriers change, like, it seems that it looks like I'm in Mexico, but I'm in Dallas. So maybe the searcher is, I don't know, identifying that I'm in Mexico.
Who is your,
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile?
It's weird, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm going to T-Mobile now.
If it's a Google or if it's an iOS or an Android, it should.
It's a Samsung, yeah.
But I love that because that gives me something to work with to find out and figure it out and troubleshoot it. So I really need to meet with you before you leave.
Yeah, because I'm stubborn, I gotta make it work, I don't.
Perfect. So one that I want to share is this is real impressive because like there's other keynote speakers in here. This works for anybody, guys. This works whether you're going to be a speaker, whether you're going to be on an individual basis, you know, or if it's going to be for the masses. For instance, if there's a pre-registration for a convention and everybody goes to the pre-registration, because everybody gets that event planner or they get that event download to see what the event's going on. So this is just one little extra part that you're going to do. But imagine being the keynote speaker in front of 500 people or 1,000 people. How would you get that business card to them? It'd be impossible. So with this one and the radius that it has, you'd be able to do a swipe, a share, and 500 or 1,000 people, if they have the app, would be able to receive your contact. How much more business is for your business if these people have that contact? Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the monetization side of your business? How are you going to make money?
So right now, there's several ways. It's the freemium model. It's a user experience, and that one has where, you know, after you swipe a few times, an ad comes up, you know, so you're able to sell that to an ad. But then from there, you have the premium model. The premium model allows you to make 2 business cards. It allows you to make your personal and your business, because sometimes you don't want to give out your personal information to somebody, but you'll give out your business information all day long. So it has that feature, and then also the value is the actual Digidex. The Digidex is the amount of contacts that you have in front of you, and it does merge with your contacts to your contacts in your phone. So you have them, but this is the cool part. You have not only the Digidex that shows the business, but it shows the face and everything. So that's the premium model. And then there's the executive model where it allows you to create unlimited, because as entrepreneurs, you have 6, 7 different businesses, but the conversation is never about, hey, just one business, right? Or if it is about one business, you just want to share that business card. But imagine being an entrepreneur and saying, hey, I've got 6 different businesses here, choose a card, you know? So as an entrepreneur, you end up having, you know, that entrepreneurial spirit will make you have different business cards. But there's 3 different models. Now, the cool part, and this isn't where I'm focusing the monetization. The monetization I'm focusing on is the back-end information that from a business-to-business model. The business-to-business model would allow for me to be able to give, for instance, the chamber, information of everybody that was in here. You know, up-to-date information. I can come back and give you and say, hey, George, I collected everybody's business card for you, but 2 weeks down the road or a week down the road or a month down the road, they change their information. That business card is useless. Tag You would allow you to automatically update that information, and it sends that update to everybody in the house. You get it? So you would have up-to-date information, and that's where the value comes in. So the business-to-business is a feature where it's going to be more valuable for you to have all this information, and where you're able to gather a pool of everybody's email that's in here today and send them that flyer, inviting them to that entrepreneur Summit, that's where the value is, because these people are in here, they're engaged already. You need to just have that right now when they leave, they're gonna say, you know what, it might be worth it. You know, this is the best time to get them. So right now, you'll be able to just pull those emails, send it to them today, and try to get a confirmation today. So the business to business is where I'm heading. Who wants to go first? Silver.
I have the tag deal, I got all my information, my business card, my picture on there. And it says, there's a little plus in a circle and a glass, and in the bottom says cash, big tax, and account. So
Yes.
are we supposed to be using all of those,
Well, let's go through it real quick, just so you can see. It's real simple, guys. This is for all age groups. So this is a good thing, Silver. So you have tag. You created your business card, correct?
correct?
So on the bottom by the tag, there's a word called blast.
Glass, yes.
Go ahead and swipe up, Silver. Swipe up in the sense, pretend you're throwing the card to me. Swipe up, upwards.
Upward? Okay. Oh, dang. So everybody's here. Juan Gomez? Okay.
That's networking, guys. That's what it is. Yeah. Thank you.
Where's Elizabeth?
Elizabeth Davis.
Last question?
Thank you.
Oh, Elizabeth, we're having a little bit of issues with her because she needs to clear up some memory on her phone. That's, she's got a lot of stuff from my cocina there. Joe from Atlas Hall and Rodriguez. Joe, you know what happened the last time that I met you? I didn't get your business card. You know, and I meant to call you and I couldn't remember you. I couldn't remember your name. So clearly this makes business for the business.
But I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You trade one of me, right?
Yes.
Can you share that or not?
I can, on the next update that's coming up today, actually, we submitted to Apple yesterday, an update, but there's a lot of restrictions with Apple. If you have a Google, I want to say, if you have an Android, the Android allows for you to be able to share a business card of a contact.
Okay.
You know, but that's what Apple's going to be doing. They're going to allow me to be able to share. So, for instance, if I have a conversation with somebody and say, hey, I need an attorney, you know, I'm going to be able to send his card to whoever the conversation is. So we're gonna make business work. So Javier Villalobos, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Agent. I have farmers. I'll check the.
I always tell them if the insurance works, that's great, but it never hurts to check.
But you know what? That is exactly what I'm gonna go to. I have farmers, but I'm gonna go and call them and say, hey, this is what I got coverage. Give me a premium, and if it works, it works. So,
I never take it personal.
don't worry, but I love your hairstyle. I'm a little biased here. I like it. Silver Trevino. Silver, check this out, Silver.
Good enough?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one right there, because Silver, let me see, your business card. Silver Trevino, Ready Tea, owner president, 956-262-3629, silver at readytea.com, 222 West Arbor Street, Harlingen, www.readytea.com. I've never been to this website, but I have now. So that's interesting, guys.
Okay, real quick, as I was setting up, I use, like for example, I use OneDrive, I use Google Drive. So my logo, I've got a professional headshot that are on my OneDrive folder. I can't access those in order to load those into.
We could do a screenshot, and then we crop it, and we add it real quick off the gallery. It's super simple. We're gonna get past everything.
Before you leave, this is for you as a thank you for presenting. Now you can drink your coffee and showcasing one of your coffees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome, guys. Well, that was cool. If you guys finish your coffee, we have plenty more, and donuts, and what's the name of the business? Matis cookies. So make sure to refill your cups. This is the section where it's kind of fun, and you can win some little swag from one of the cups as well. If you're not presenting today, you unfortunately will not receive a thermos with 1 million cups, but this is your opportunity to receive one. So our trivia question for today is, besides February being the month of canned food, bird feeding, hot breakfast, potato loavers, and Black History, February is one of my favorite months. And no, it's not because of Valentine's. It's because it's National Returning Shopping Carts to the Supermarket month. I know, it's ridiculous. I love it. So the question of today is, costing an average of $10,000 per year per store, how many shopping carts are estimated to be stolen on a yearly basis from supermarkets? Any guesses? 1 million? No. 1.5? No. 5 million? No. Okay, it's less than 5 million and more than 1 million. 3 million? Less. 2.5? No. Any guesses over right here? 2.4. 2.4? No.
2.7.
Nope.
1.75.
No.
6 million.
2 million. 2 million shopping carts are stolen on average per year. So congratulations, here's your 1 million cup. Alright, so I'm sorry guys, I'll have to cut you off on your restocking of coffee. Alright, so let's all get back to our seats. Please, please, please. That way we can respect our entrepreneurs' times. Alright, so up next we have the Bryant House. And the Bryant House is a restored house from 1909. And it was built by an American politician and then turned it into a museum, an event center, and a breakfast and bank. So today, Errol King is going to be talking more about the Bryant House. Please join me in welcoming the Bryant House.
Hi guys, hello to you. Anyhow, well, my name's Ariel King. I'm from Mission. I am going to explain to you my little happy journey, my labor of love, to say the least. I live close to the Bryan House. I grew up passing by this old little farmhouse my entire life, as many have, because it's been there before most other buildings in the area. And one day I saw that there was a for sale sign out front. And I thought, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to this little building? And I was just overcome with curiosity. And so I called up the agent and I said, listen, can I have a tour? Is it possible for me to come inside? And she said, sure, but you're going to have to wait your turn because somebody else is already looking at it. And I thought, okay, no big deal. And I pulled in, I sat in the drive for about 10 minutes, and then I looked up and I realized it was my husband's vehicle. I thought, oh, this is great. So I walked inside and scared the heck out of the agent. She thought I was just being insolent, and thought, oh, don't you listen? But we walked around, and the bones of the house looked pretty good. We got some contractors to come out and take a look at it. And there was a lot of work to be done because the house had been empty for about 7 years. So it was really quite overgrown. The previous owners had loved it to death, but had moved out years before because they could no longer use the stairs. So they moved in with their kids and so forth. So the house had sat empty. And I thought, let's just put in a bid. And it turns out that the previous owner remembered me from a previous conversation about plants. We had just had this connection, this great conversation years before about plants. And that one little connection meant that she ended up choosing us over other bidders who were actually offering more money.
And she knew that if she would pass the baton to me, that I would do everything I could in my power to do right by her and the community. And wow, once she accepted the offer, then it dawned on me, holy cow, now what? Now I've got this incredibly old farmhouse on a corner of Mission. The road had been expanded, so there was quite a bit of traffic. And I had this pressure on me because so many of the people really wanted to make sure that I did things properly. And so we went on this journey of restoring this place, and I sat in archive rooms and museums and traveled the state, gathering, interviewing people, and collecting as much information as I could from local residents, and restored this place. And really, as I was restoring it, people were walking in all the time saying, you know, my great-granddaddy came to the valley because they wanted to hear Brian speak, and then never left. And I've heard that now like 3 or 4 times. It's really crazy. So I did this restoration, went through the headaches of city politics, and finally made it happen because it only sits on 1 acre. And then because there was so much interest in the community to use the space, I said, okay, well, let's just make the most of this. We opened it up to the community. We do historical tours throughout the week. It's a bed and breakfast. It's really becoming and evolving a cultural center. And because so many people, and a tourist attraction, because it's on TripAdvisor, we get people that will drive in as far as Corpus Christi to come and see it. We get people that come in from out of town because they want to get married there. They want something historic and something quaint. They want something small, something intimate. We have a lot of family reunions. It's a great place for meetings and retreats. And so more and more I see this evolution of this fantastic house that was owned by this incredibly important figure in America's history. If you're not familiar with who William Jennings Bryan is, or was, he ran for president 3 separate times. He'd been a colonel in the Spanish-American War. He was Secretary of State under Woodrow Wilson. He was the inspiration for the Cowardly Lion and the Wizard of Oz. And he was also the leading prosecutor in the Scopes Monkey trial of 1925. And there was a movie called Inherit the Wind that was made about this, a Hollywood version of it. So he was this legendary figure who would travel the country and give orations, and thousands of people would follow him, like groupies for the Grateful Dead. They would just follow him across the country and spend hours sitting there listening to him. And so once I started gathering this information, I thought, holy cow, this is the only one of 5 houses that's not on the National Register that was owned by him. And so as a result, we do get people that come in and want to stay there, want to see the place. Since we do weddings about once a month, but since I started gathering this information, people coming in, I thought, what can I do for the community? So now we have everything from farmers markets, and this is Mr. Bryan, by the way, and this is him down here at the bottom signing a deal to purchase the property. You know, we're doing these farmers markets, we're doing these other fantastic events, that art exhibitions, we're doing festivals, we're doing retreats, we're doing all these things now that it's really becoming a cultural center. And I'm just kind of following the lead of you know, what people are asking for, I'm giving to them. By the way, I have experience in nonprofit. I used to be a producer at KRGV, so I have no problems getting out there in the community and doing these things. So it's really funny how a project like this comes together, and all those little traits that or jobs that you've had in the past all come together. And so this has been one of those really fantastic opportunities to share something of value with the community. And I gotta say, we have photographers in there all throughout the week. I mean, that's the other thing too, graduations, wedding photography, family photography, you know, pop the question. We get, you see that's the farmer's market up on top, farm to market dinners. Since I do a farmer's market and I grow my own vegetables, then it's a platform basically for people who are doing interesting things in the community. And that's what's happening. We're getting people together who just don't have a lot of other options, and they want to be able to have an opportunity to share what it is that they do in a creative manner and in a social atmosphere that's of interest, not necessarily in a box, if that makes sense. And so as we grow, I have certain things that I'd like to see happen. I realize that because it's privately owned, it's not a nonprofit, I can't apply for grants. We did all of this out of our own savings. And so therefore, the only way for me to apply for some of these grants that are out there is probably to create a separate entity like a nonprofit and just have it based there. And so,
Do you want to point it this way?
I'm sorry?
Want to point it this way?
Okay.
Okay, very.
And so anyway, I do realize I'm having growing pains because we do have activities, but I'd like to get activities throughout the week. I'd like to have more corporate events, more meetings, depositions for attorneys. We've got great space to be able, our mediation to separate people into different groups. And so I definitely need to be able to put myself out there and let people know to think outside the box and how you use this space. And that's the site plan. So also just so you're aware, people ask me, well, why did Brian come to the Valley? Well, it's because the founder of Mission, Texas, John Conway, recognized that this was a great way to reach the entire country. If a big figure like William Jennings Bryan would build something in Mission, Texas, then it would make national news, and it did. And so that's the whole reason that Brian actually came down here and built his little winter farm. Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Well, questions?
Yes,
And, I guess revenue-wise, are you getting your projections? Are you seeing the growth?
Okay, so this is the third year, we're going into the third year of owning it. We're breaking even at this point.
Okay.
So now I'm just hoping, we have a wedding once a month, we're doing other events. But now in this third year, I see, okay, I've got to expand on my business model and start getting more traffic throughout the week, is what it really comes down to. And I can't rely on just one wedding a month. I need to start building up these other activities, and that's why we're starting to do art classes, we're starting to do yoga classes, we're trying to do other kinds of mixers just to get people in there to recognize the space.
So, two things. When you were talking about a nonprofit, and just because of the nature of your space and how beautiful and inspiring it is, it came to mind that possibly if you have the nonprofit status, that you could get grants for an artist in residence. That would be very cool.
I would love to do more of that.
And as an aside, also, I know previously, more than a year ago, you had mentioned one of the difficulties you faced is that a lot of Mexican nationals wanted to come and utilize the space, but your Spanish was not limited because you're fluent, but how have you kind of overcome that, or are you growing your business in that respect as well?
As far as photography, we're getting some people in. I have some Mexican nationals that are using the space for family events. It is a challenge because it is a piece of American history and actually Mexican history because Brian was traveling in Mexico. That's how Mr. Conway grabbed him and said, hey, why don't you consider Mission, Texas? And it was because he had been traveling in Mexico and would stay in Monterrey, he would go to Mexico City. So that part has been a challenge to kind of reach out to people that have come into Mission. I'm seeing more people come from McAllen than I am, and Mission than anything. I see lots of people from McAllen come out. They'll even come out from the farmers markets. They just want to come out and see the place. But Mexican nationals, especially ones that live in Sherryland, there's still this like invisible line that just seems between Sherryland and Mission, and it's really hard to erase that. But they'll come. People will come to Bryan Road, but that's the furthest west they'll cross. It seems.
So Ariel, to avoid that they're going to expand or do anything like that, the city can go and take up some property for easements and stuff like that. What can we do, like what needs to be done to make it a historical marker, and how can we help?
So currently the house has a centennial marker that was put in 1937, and that doesn't really offer any protection. So for 2 years, I have been talking to the state about getting an application in for a plaque, a historical, I want to register the place. It's the only one that's not on the national. I at least want to do the state registry. But unfortunately, the application can only be submitted by the Hidalgo County Historical Board. I cannot do it. They have to do it for me. And for 2 years, I've been calling and asking for some assistance, and I've gotten nowhere. And then I call the state, I complain to the state, and say, hey, nobody's listening to me, nobody's helping me, what do I need to do? And so supposedly there's a new person in charge, there's a new director that's going to be coming in. I don't know if they've been appointed yet. There's some other new board members, but it's just a matter of people are busy with their lives, they're appointed these positions, they had other things, I guess, on their plate. This was not one of them. And so anyway, one of the new committee members is Adela Ortega, and she used to be a member. She's from Mission. I've talked to her, and she says that she'll help me out with some of this. So I'm hoping that we can get the house protected, because it is only an acre. If they were to expand the road beyond 495, it would cut straight up to the door. Any other questions?
I think Steve has an ear over there. He's gonna reach out to you.
Have you ever, have you ever thought of having like huge networking events there throughout the week, sort of like this?
I would love to. Yes, I would. And so one of the things that, because I'm not a nonprofit, I'm doing everything. I'm out there, sometimes I'm mowing the grass. There's just so much. And really, that's what it comes down to. I'm building my volunteer lists. I'm finding people in the community that want to help, but it takes time. Once people kind of have a better understanding of what I'm trying to accomplish, people are stepping up and starting to help. But maybe I have 5 people. Maybe I have 5 volunteers, and that's it. Little by little, though, I'm also calling the schools, because I do school historical tours. And some of those groups are sending over some volunteers for some of the festivals. Those other events, these kids have to get a certain amount of community service hours. And so I'm finding more children coming over to help in that regard. But it's not nearly enough. So like when I do my big antique markets or Christmas markets or festivals and such, I really need quite a few. I need more than 1 or 2. And the issue is with the kids, as we all know this, they don't always show. Or they leave early. Or you find them hiding in the corner. They're not really doing something, or they say they're supposed to. I had a situation the other day where the kids had reported that they were going to be there, but they were in the car. They were sitting in the car the whole time. So you run into that. And I certainly do need more volunteers, and I recognize that I can delegate. I do understand that I need to be able to delegate at some point, and so I'm hoping if I did create a nonprofit that would be based there, that it would help me apply for some of those grants and things that for not only under history, but art, culture, USDA, gardening, women's, networking. There's all kinds of grants out there, and right now I'm not privy to any of that. So I certainly need advice with that. If somebody has experience with nonprofits, I think it's something I need to explore. But any of these ideas like the networking, I love that. And I have the space. It's sitting there. So I do need to get that traffic.
Good job.
Appreciation. Thank you very much for presenting with us. Make sure to connect with the entrepreneurs if you have further questions. This is your opportunity. I think we are out of coffee. Sorry, guys. But we have donuts. So thank you very much, everyone, for taking time out of your busy week. And just a reminder, the Entrepreneur Summit, February 28th on Embassy Suites, $30 per person. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.